The thing is that when I had a new LLC and I wanted to borrow $1 million, I really have to understand that when it comes to this kind of loans, you have to be really specific. Okay, so what I did was I decided what type of loan I needed to fund my business. And the thing is that my business was in hospitality, and I really felt like if I can get all the way to $1 million, I can really get the funds to expand the business in all the states instead of just focusing on one state. Let's say New York, where I created a company. I wanted to really first start by expanding in the tri-state area, so Jersey and Connecticut, and then from there go on to the whole country. Okay, so I had to really think about the type of loan that I wanted, because the thing is, if you want to finance a large purchase or a business expansion, you have all kinds of options, especially for a new LLC. I knew that, and I knew I had to choose from traditional term loans, business lines of credit, equipment financing, bridge loans, accounts receivable financing, all kinds of options. And it was important for me to really make sure I did not sacrifice my personal assets. In other words, I didn't want to have anything with personal guarantee. That was really I wanted to stay away from PG as much as possible. So what I did was I started thinking about having a combination of loans, like have a normal term loan from a lender such as On Deck Capital, but also have a business line of credit from a lender such as Blue Vine, because I just realized that if I'm a new LLC, it will be complicated for me to get a loan, such a large loan from a bank or a credit union. Even though I had good relationships with Truist, and also good relationship with Bank of America, I just felt like they weren't really there to actually work with me in terms of helping me get the loan that I wanted. So I chose a combination of term loans and lines of credit. And I also try to really go to a Balboa Capital to see if I can have a working capital loan. That went really fine, but they did not give me the amount that I wanted. They ended up giving me a 50 grand, 50 to 60 grand, but that was good anyway. So the $1 million, it wasn't a one lump sum. It was a combination of several loans, actually, for the LLC. So what I did was, after I decided what type of loan I wanted to fund my new LLC, I determined whether I qualified to get a business loan in the first place, because I already have some experience in the business world. But the LLC itself, when it comes to LLC itself, this was a brand new company, and I needed to prove to myself that, hey, listen, to myself, but also to the lenders, that I could really qualify to get a business loan. Luckily, and that's a big luck. That's a big luck. Luckily, I already had some kind of experience with other business ventures. My credit score was perfect anyway. My personal credit score was perfect. I mean, I'm above 750. But the on the business credit side, I had, for the new LLC, there was no business credit score, right? I had already registered with Dun and Bradstreet. I had registered with Experian Business and Equifax Business. So I knew that if it came to a credit score, I would qualify. If it came to like my personal credit score, I would qualify. But to transfer that to the business realm of things would be complicated, because if it was easier for me to get a 50,000 personal loan through let's say Upgrade or Upstart or other players, it will be much more complicated to get a $1 million LLC loan for my new LLC. Okay, because a lot of lenders, especially those online lenders and those fintechs, they ask you how long you have been in business. So anytime there's a lender asks me how long have I been in business, and I say, well, I'm just a brand new company, the reply was not really interesting. Okay, because besides asking you how long you have been in business, they'll also ask you if you are making enough money, because those lenders, they want to pay attention to your cash inflow. They want to see how much is coming in. And so what I did was I created financial projections. So I showed them, instead of actual results, I showed them actual, let's say, instead of actual results, I showed them projected results. Okay. So I said, well, for the next 3 months, this is how much I forecast For the next 6 months, this is how much I forecast. For the next year, this is how much I forecast, and this is what I forecast for the next 5 years. So I had a series of forecasts, and so that really showed them, hey, listen, this is someone who has thought about his business in and out. Okay, and because I wanted to prove to them that my business could generate the revenue to afford the monthly payments. Okay, and that was important to actually get lenders on board. So for my new LLC to actually get to the to borrow $1 million, I really started paying attention to the different categories of small business lenders. See, the whole thing is that small business lenders actually come in different shapes, okay, and you got to really know whom you're dealing with. So I had to compare and contrast all those lenders that were really coming to me. Okay, I used a lot of resources. I started by going to websites that really would do the comparison for you. So there are websites specialized in that kind of thing. You have Bankrate.com, you have Nerd Wallet, okay. You have you have Lending Club. So those are websites that specialize in comparing and contrasting new LLC business loans. So that was my first step. Okay. So even before reaching out to those lenders, what I did was to do the some of the work myself, some of the legwork myself. So I use those loan comparison website. That's number one. Number two, I actually went to those business loan marketplaces. So the business loan marketplaces, you are talking about to go into a Lendio, for instance. You have NBC, so National Business Capital. You have Clarify Capital. Those are actually platforms that actually have a network of 70 to 100 lending partners. So when you apply for a new LLC loan, or just let's just say a business loan per se on those platforms, what they do is they actually dispatch your data to all lenders in their network. So you start getting calls from lenders who want to really do business with you, who want to lend to you, and it's up to you at that point to really filter. You want to filter out the best, and you want to really work with those that are best and cheapest. So that's what I did. So from there, I also reached out to online lenders and alternative lenders. So I'm speaking here about OnDeck, for instance. I'm speaking about Balboa Capital, for instance. I'm speaking about all smart base, for instance. I'm speaking about Blue Vine, So I reached out to a lot of. So in my process, the last person that I reached out to was banks and credit unions. Why? Because I knew that banks and credit unions, looking at me as a new LLC, they're not going to lend to me up to $1 million. They'll be asking a lot of paperwork, a lot of documentation, which they did in the first place anyway. Okay, so I wanted to really do the work myself before going to those institutions. So the way I actually borrowed up to $1 million as a new LLC, after doing the research, I actually gathered my application materials. See, the thing is, when you go for a business loan, especially if you are a new business, you got to be prepared. You got to be extra prepared because they're asking you. The lender will be extra cautious. They don't know you. You're just new, and they're thinking that you might actually be out of business within 6 months or 1 year, right? So you got to really be extra careful about the kind of documentation you're providing. So what I did was the lender that I ended up working with, and again, I want to tell you the fact that it wasn't 1 million from one lender. It was a combination of different lenders. Okay, in terms of term loans, but also a business line of credit, and also working capital loans. And so what I did was I gathered my application materials. Okay, now the application materials were sort of similar across all the three or four lenders that I ended up working with, because they'll ask you about information about your business, which I supplied. So they'll ask you what the LLC does, when it was created. They will ask you for a certificate of formation from the state department in your state. So in my state, it was in my case, it was New York. The company was created in New York, so I had to supply all the info, about the registration in New York State. They'll ask you for financial statements for you and your business, which I didn't have. I didn't have actual results. Like I said a little earlier, I didn't have the actual results, but I had projections. So the projections actually were good enough for those lenders, and The lenders will also ask you about details about the business owners. So in my case, I had to provide my resume, information about my business background, what I did in the past, and all the other businesses I was involved in the first place, and I'm still involved in anyway. So that kind of gives you a snapshot of your business acumen, because the lenders will just want to make sure that you know what you're talking about, right? You have an idea of the kind of stuff that you're talking about, and you're not a newbie. I mean, your business might be new, but you yourself, as a business owner, you're not a newbie. And some lenders actually asked me to provide info about collateral, which I did because I said, you know what, whatever I can provide, not a problem. If they want me to provide that info, I'll provide it, and this is what I did. And so one thing for sure, when I provided that, I was always responsive. When they asked the question, I didn't wait for 1 week. I'll just send the data like within the day, within a few hours. So that helped me a lot, big time. So the way I borrowed $1 million as a new LLC was actually applying for several business loans. Okay, and what I want to say here is that when it comes to the uh, the application for the loan itself, it's just a lot better to do it online. Yeah. If you had to do this at a branch, let's say in my case, I was lucky that a bank will, even though I had a great relationship with Truist Bank and PNC, among others, none of them really want to take a chance on me as a new LLC, as a new business. So I had to rely on online lenders. But the thing is, if you're asking to borrow that much, you have to either collateralize it, or you have to really go with online lenders, online slash alternative lenders, and that's what I did in my case. Okay, I didn't have to collateralize much, so that's really good from a stability standpoint. Okay, and but the cool thing is that if you are lucky, you can actually work with other lenders such as Fundbox. Okay, Fundbox actually does a great job in terms of giving you the cash upfront, but Fundbox, the only problem with Fundbox is they don't give you that much. But what I did was, in my case, when it comes to applying for the business loan itself, I applied online. I uploaded all the documents they asked for. So they will ask you for all the documents that I told you a little earlier, right? About things like financial projections, all the data, the business plan. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you that I had to really add also a business plan. So I had to add a business plan to the documentation so that it was pretty clear, was pretty comprehensive to the lender, the scope of the business itself. So that was really important. And because this loan that I asked was a loan for operating purposes. It wasn't for equipment financing. I didn't have to buy a car. I didn't have to buy a business card. No, it was to actually expand the business to other states. Like I said a little earlier, I wanted to expand the business to the tri-state area in New York, so New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey, and then from there actually expand to the whole United States and all the other 47 states. Okay, and I wanted to have money to actually purchase inventory to hire extra staff, and so that was very important. That was the point from the get go. So one thing I did after applying for the business loans, basically I had to, and I was approved. I didn't really just sign the documents right away. What I did was I spent 2 days, I mean 48 hours maximum, to review the loan agreements and get the funds. See, the whole thing is that I realized from past experience, but also by looking around me, that a lot of business owners actually are so excited when they get approved for a business loan. They do not take the time to actually read the business, like to read the fine prints. You got to read the fine prints. It's crazy what some lenders might actually insert in the loan agreement. So what you want to do is you do not want to be surprised by anything. So you want to take the time to read the loan agreement. That's what I did. I took 2 days to read the loan agreements step by step to understand every possibility in terms of APR, in terms of origination fees. Thank God there was no origination fee, but there was a clause in the loan agreements that said, there could be an origination fee in the future. So you want to be aware of those things. So origination fee, administrative fees, a lot of things, okay? But also late charges, so late payment charges. So I wanted to be clear, not that I wanted to have a late payment on my record, but I just still want to know anyway what the new LLC will expose itself will expose itself to if it were to have to run into trouble. Okay, so that was something that I did, and what I wanted to say is that do not rush your paperwork. Okay, when you complete your application, you want to double check all the requirements. You want to ensure everything is accurate. So because the thing is that this will take you a few minutes to check now, but it will save you hours, if not days of your time if you had to really fix a problem down the road, right? It will take more time to fix a problem down the road than to fix it now. That's why you want to take the time now to really apply for what you have to apply for. So that's what I did. I mean, the whole thing took me 48 hours, and I reviewed everything. I read all the lines, and then I just signed everything. I mean, once I was comfortable, I signed the paperwork, and I was just funded within let's say a give or take within 5 to 6 days, working days, by the way. So a few things I learned is that if you have a new LLC and you're trying to borrow, let's say up to $1 million, it could be really hard. It could be really complicated, and but it's important to understand that it gets harder not just because you don't have the right paperwork. It gets harder because you haven't cultivated the relationship with the lender or lenders. See, lenders just want to make sure that you are in a capacity to repay the loan they are about to give you. That's all. They don't care about your FICO score. They don't care. I mean, they care about your FICO score, but not that much. See, the main concern is not your FICO score. The main concern is not how sexy, if you will, your industry is. They just want to make sure you have enough funds to actually repay them. Okay. So one thing for sure, if you're finding yourself in a situation where it is getting harder for you to really fund your small business or your startup, you have to really pay. You have to ask yourself, what kind of industry I'm in, and have I actually cultivated the right relationship with the lenders who can really help me? Because the lender, I mean, like I said, you want to go with you want to start with your bank, and then you want to start with you want to go from there, and ideally you want to have a bank. You also want to have a credit union, and then from there, if for any reason you can't really have the right relationship with a bank or a credit union, then you can go to an alternative lender. It can be an online lender, it can be a fintech, it can be an alternative lender. That way you have more flexibility, and that's what you want anyway. You want to have that flexibility, especially if you are a new business. You want to have a lot of flexibility in terms of the loans you get, but also in terms of the repayment terms. Okay, and what I want to say also is that if for any reason you don't have cash, just go for an SBA loan. An SBA loan will make sure that you get the cash, even though the process is lengthier, but you'll get some funding. Okay, and go for an SBA loan, or even go for a micro loan. A micro loan, if you apply for a micro loan, they will cap you at $50,000, which is nothing if your needs are higher, but at least you get something, right? You get some funds. In conclusion to this conversation, I just explained to you how I borrowed $1 million as a new LLC, and I gave you the steps that I went through to actually get the cash, and the kind of mindset that I had to actually gather the paperwork. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.